Welcome to the Business Kitchen Show, where every week we'll be cooking up some fun recipes to help you succeed in business. Our guests will be sharing time-tested and delicious business recipes, as well as some new cutting-edge ones. Every recipe has a story, and every chef adds their own unique flavor to the dish. Just like each business strategy has its own story, and owners work hard to make their mark. Here at the Business Kitchen, you can be sure to find your own recipe for success.
Hello, and welcome to the newest episode of the Business Kitchen Show. Here at the Business Kitchen, we encourage you to look outside the traditional recipe box. I'm your host, Natalia Levy, and I am thrilled to welcome back my co-host, Tatiana. Welcome, Tatiana. So, you guys, we want to make sure that you... Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
Good. So happy to be back.
Oh, yes, it's good to have you back. So we have a phenomenal guest today. I am so honored that he is going to be joining us. He is a dear friend. He is a doctor of chiropractic. He is a mobility specialist. He's a course creator. And here's a fun fact for you. He took a 1-year sabbatical to travel with a professional baseball team. Welcome, Dr. Moses Bernard, to the show. Hi, Moses.
Hi, Natalia. Hi, Tatiana. Happy to be here.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. So can you tell the audience just a little bit about your business, or a lot? I know we'll dive into a lot of juicy stuff today, but just give us a little brief introduction beyond what I already shared.
Cool. So on paper, I am a chiropractor. I have a private practice in Tampa, Florida. And the focus of my practice is really based on teaching people how to use their bodies better. So given that there's 168 hours in the week, I care a lot more about the 167 and a half hours that you aren't in my office versus the tiny sliver of time that you actually are. So I really spend a lot of time teaching people how to live their day-to-day life better, whether that's their workouts, their sitting positions at work, how they stretch or how they don't stretch, just kind of giving them useful things to use on a day-to-day basis.
Well, sure. Who doesn't want to live better and look better and move better, right? I think we all want to do that. So I have a question. So most people don't think of doctors as business owners, right? So we think of, like, we go to the doctor to get our stuff fixed, but we don't think of them as creating courses or, like you yourself running Facebook groups. So was there a certain point in your career that helped you to establish that business mindset, or did it start from your childhood?
So it didn't really start from childhood. It did start while I was in chiropractic school. So the school that I went to, fortunately, it had a business curriculum. So chiropractic is very different from a lot of branches of medicine or physical therapy even, where you graduate and there's people who are just offering jobs. In the chiropractic world, generally you need to kind of build your own thing from scratch, or at the bare minimum, you're going to work underneath someone for a little while just to learn what you need to do to build your own practice. So from, even while in chiropractic school, you had to kind of build your own practice within the school to get your credits. So the last year of the program was, hey, you're on your own, go out there, go find people, get them to come into the practice. You need to do X many exams, X many treatments. You were just kind of thrown to the wolves, and it was sink or swim before you even graduated. So coming into business, I already kind of knew that was going to be happening.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people really know that with respect to chiropractic. So we do have, well, at least at my school, we do have some business training. Now, it isn't like a ton of business training, but it's enough for doctors coming out to realize, like, you're on your own. Just because you're good at moving bones from point A to point B, that isn't going to be enough to pay your bills.
That's amazing. So were there any books that you found that you throughout your business journey? How many years are you out of school, Moses, already? Like, how many years?
I graduated in 09. I graduated in '09, so it's been over 10 years now, which is
Oh,
absolutely
yeah.
crazy for me to think about because it feels like it was just yesterday.
Yeah, wow.
But
So
yeah,
were
as
there
far
any
as
books? Yeah.
yeah, sorry. As far as books are concerned, I was really fortunate. Right before graduating, I came across Tim Ferriss's 4 Hour Work Week, and it didn't really. I didn't read it and be like, "Get rich quick," and I'm going to be a millionaire, and I'm only going to be working 4 hours. But it did at least give me the ability to step back and make me think about what kind of lifestyle did I want as I built my business and built my practice. So that was kind of running in the background the entire time. Around the same time, I also read the E Myth, which is I know there's a healthcare version, so there's like an E Myth for doctors and E Myth for chiropractors, and
Mhm.
it's basically looking into how there's this myth of entrepreneurs about how you do everything yourself and you never sleep and everything is on your shoulders, and great
Mhm.
entrepreneurship is really about building good systems. And so I had
Mhm.
before our work week there to be looking at how do I want my lifestyle to be as I build this practice. I had the E-Myth there to look at how can I be building systems as I'm building my practice. And then the third one that kind of wraps it all together was a book called Book Yourself Solid. And it was really about being crystal clear about what your ideal customer looks like and building your business model based on that. And so from day one, that has been something that I was been super clear on, and I've been refining on a day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year basis of who
Mhm.
exactly am I communicating to.
No, I love Tim
Yeah.
Ferriss, but I also do you know that I actually did my public speaking training with the Michael Port from that
Of
created
course
Book
you did.
Yourself
Of course,
Solid
why
program.
is that not surprising?
Yeah. Um, Tatiana, I think you had the next question, my love.
Sorry about that. My screen was
You're
frozen for
good.
a
You're good.
second there. So, we noticed that you have a huge social media following. Would you be able to tell us how you increase your visibility for yourself and your business?
So around 2011, 2012, I came across some of Gary Vaynerchuk's stuff. And he really talked
Mhm.
about how, regardless of the business that you're in and the way that you want to communicate with people, people do business with people that they have relationships with or they want to have relationships with. So going back to you are more than just the product or service that you sell, people want to relate to people. And the more you can
Mhm.
communicate who you are as a person, the more likely someone is to want to do business with you. At the same time, he really gave me the idea of just giving away high quality content. So for the past 5, 6, 7 years, even before I had any idea of wanting to do any type of online course, I was just giving away content. So I learned something, I'd give it
Mhm.
away. I'd learn something, I'd give it away. I just wanted to share my views on
Mhm.
movement and healthcare and chiropractic with whoever wanted to listen. And because it was being done through that lens of the Michael Port, book yourself solid, know
Mhm.
who you're talking to, I just kept
Mhm.
talking to the people who I figured might be receptive to this message. And over the years, it's just kind of gradually built up a social media following.
Right.
Yeah,
And
and you're
you've
building
done
your
such an
brand.
amazing Yeah, and you've done such an amazing job with creating that following. Now, I have two questions, and just based on what I just heard you say. So, when you first started to share that information with the people, did you have number one? Did you have a target market? Did you have a
Mhm.
certain specific type of clients that you or patients that you wanted to reach? And then the second question is, what was the platform that you found that was
Mhm.
most effective for you as a doctor and as a business owner as well?
Mhm.
And so I think a lot of that is just has to do with timing. So when I started being active on social media, Instagram was the up and coming thing. So
Mhm.
that's what I got most comfortable with in terms of creating content and producing content and communicating with my audience. I did have a Facebook account before that, but that was really more of a personal thing. So the Instagram became associated in my brain with this is kind of what I'm doing to
Mhm.
build up my business. business. Now, it's interesting that it's come full circle in that I've actually been working a lot more with Facebook groups. So building a community of some of the people who have latched onto some of the ideas that I try to share. So the Facebook groups is kind of more of the community side of things, and Instagram is more of the continuous content side of things. So those have been the ones that have been the most effective for me. I've played around with Twitter for a little bit and just couldn't get a feel for it. I never got on board with TikTok. There's a couple of, never really got into Snapchat. So yeah, those are the ones that have worked well for me.
I feel the
Very
same
cool.
way about Twitter and TikTok. I was never able to get into those for whatever reason. Instagram and Facebook
Neither
have
have I,
definitely
yeah.
been my top choices.
A really good piece of advice that I got on that, I think it was from Seth Godin, was you don't need to be on every single platform. The thing that matters is that whatever platform you're on, you're actually producing content for it. So whether it is Facebook, whether it is Instagram, whether it is old school email, wherever you choose to plant your flag, just make sure that you're continually putting out content for that thing.
Yeah.
So that's a good point of
And-
actually making a commitment to a certain platform, just to reiterate to our listeners and viewers.
So that is, yeah, one
And-
thing that I definitely try to stay on top of is the kind of being or having the native platforms that I'm most comfortable with. I do need to get better at being consistent with my posting, because when I have good ideas, I'll just post really consistently for 3 or 4 weeks straight, and then I'll kind of go into a lull or I won't do anything for a week or two. So a little bit more consistent versus the peaks and the valleys is definitely something I've been working on over the last year or so.
And how would you say that you differentiate yourself from other doctors?
So this has really been on the movement and mobility thing, and it was really me trying to scratch my own itch. So I found that most of chiropractic, most of physical therapy is based on getting you out of pain. So there's this continuum from I'm in pain down here, I have ideal function over here, and most of what we see in healthcare is just about getting you over this pain line. So from I'm in pain, I did some treatments, you're now out of pain, you're fine. But that's not really true, because you can be out of pain. There's this huge continuum from not being in pain to functioning ideally. And that I had things in my body that I knew weren't perfect, but they weren't really painful either. And so I started doing all of this continuing education, looking for how can I use ideal function as that gold standard instead of pain as that gold standard. So in searching for that and finding those answers for myself, I realized that there might be some other people who wanted to look at things the same way. So my market, that ideal customer for me, is really myself, which is why I get it. It's that person who is active, they're doing the right things, they're in the gym X many days a week, they're taking their yoga classes, they're doing their stretches on their own, they're on the foam roller, they're trying to do things to make their body work well, but they still know there's another level and they can't quite get there. So that is really the main person and the main audience that I try to communicate with.
This is so great. Have you had to change the business model at all due to the pandemic?
Absolutely. And the timing worked really, really nicely for this. So I started the idea for an online course. It's called The Ultimate Spine. I ended up looking at this idea in late 2019. And it ended up being that the official soft launch for this was March 3rd of this year, with the full launch being March 17th, which ended up being the peak of the international travel shutdowns. So right when we got to a place where very few people are leaving their home, at the exact same time, I had this online course that launched. So it ended up being this beautifully timed pivot where I was able to look at, okay, well, I'm not really seeing patients in the office anymore. Let's shift the gears to the online course thing. And then as things have changed with people going out in masks and being more comfortable seeing healthcare providers, the initial launch of that course started ramping down around the same time that business started ramping up. But now I'm getting to a place where I need to maintain them both. So it's now going to be trying to find the balance of dealing with the brick and mortar practice and dealing with the people who have signed up for the spine course.
That was actually my next question for you. I was going to ask, how do you keep yourself accountable with having to share a message online versus working with your patients in-house?
Well, fortunately, it's the same message. So the message is, how do you use your body better and how do you move your body better? And the online course was, I just assembled a lot of these strategies that I've been using with patients for the last 10 years and a lot of the ways I've been communicating with patients for the past 10 years and just made a bunch of videos for all of it. So it's the same content. The issue now is just, how do I distribute the time towards the two? But if I'm posting on social media, well, I'm kind of doing both at the same time. If I'm creating a video for a specific patient, well, that can now be something that, if I don't use the patient's name, can now become part of the online course. And so they both really feed into each other really nicely. It's really just an issue of figuring out what chunks of time I'm going to dedicate to each one.
Right. So how do you figure it out? And I think that the interesting part is that how things and how the timing of everything happened in the way that worked out for you between, the closings and the pandemic happening and launching the course, which has been that you already had so much content and you already had a huge following that you built through consistent engagement with Instagram and consistent engagement through your Facebook group, which is where you're building communities. So that actually already, fortunately, has allowed you to already have a platform to launch a course. Now, to those doctors that are watching that don't have or don't think that they don't have a platform, do you have some sort of advice for them on how do they look at potentially creating an online course for their patients?
So a lot of doctors who see themselves as a service, especially if you are manual service, so you're a surgeon, you're a chiropractor, you're a massage therapist, they feel like there isn't really a way to take what they do with their hands and make it something that can be done online or done outside of just using their hands. And there is always something that you offer that you can teach. So for me, it's really easy because I teach people how to stretch and I teach people how to do specific exercises, so I can package that up. But even if you are a plastic surgeon, well, there's still aftercare that people do. There's kind of before care that people need to do. So I might be a plastic surgeon, but I could still release a course that is, hey, here are the secrets to keeping healthy skin without plastic surgery. Hey, you just had surgery. Here are some of the things that you can do to maintain it. Here are 5 mistakes that people make when looking for a surgeon. Whatever it happens to be, to use that specific example, there are things that you can do to make your thing more course-based. So it's really looking at what is the thing that you can teach your people. Not necessarily what is the thing I can do to this person, is what can I teach? And no matter what industry you're in, there's some unique thing or some unique style of communication that you have that you can offer.
And Moses, last question. I know we're running out of time. What would you say your special ingredient is that contributes to your success?
So for me, that ingredient is, I've always been really interested in the human body. So from grade school to high school to college, I didn't go to school to be a chiropractor. I went to school because I found the body fascinating. And as I was finishing undergrad, chiropractic was the next step of me learning about the body because I find it fascinating. And I do way more continuing education than I need to maintain my license because I find the body fascinating. And just because I continue to go down that road and go down that rabbit hole, I've acquired skills of learning about the body that I can share with other people, which makes me better at my job, and it has allowed me to create some different products over the years.
I think it's so amazing is that when we own businesses that we are so passionate. I know you and I talk about it all the time. I'm like getting gut health certification right now on top of the restaurants and everything. But to have that continued education, I think it's so important, and it also it makes us more interesting and makes us better professionals to the people that we work with. Moses, where can people find you? Where can our listeners and viewers find you, get in touch with you to learn more about you?
So the easiest would be, like I said, I'm most active on Instagram. That is just my name, at Moses Bernard. If you're local and you're interested in becoming a patient, that is going to be at mosesbernard.com, or sorry, that is going to be www.mosesbernard.com. My online course, you can find both places. So there's links to it through my professional website and through my Instagram. So my branding across the entire thing is just my name, Moses Bernard. If you Google that in, you'll find my stuff.
We love
Makes
you
it
so
easy.
much. Thank you so much for tuning in. You shared so many amazing insights from really creating specific content, pick one platform and really become active at it, to continue learning, to the 4-hour work week. Oh my gosh, there's so many great takeaways. You probably will want you to rewatch this show and make sure that you connect with Dr. Moses Bernard. Moses, thank you so much. We're so grateful
you
for
so
your time
much.
today.
Thanks again for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Tatiana, wow, that was incredible. What do you think?
I loved it. I've never picked at a brain of a chiropractor before. It was really good to hear all that stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like there's so many, from the perspective of just regular people or the perspective of patients, we never think of doctors or people who work with a hand, something hands-on, as to be able to take their business online. So to all of you, connect with Dr. Moses, look him up, see what he has done, have him as an example of how to really passionately and from the expertise to share your message. We're so grateful to you for tuning in, and until next time, we'll see you next Thursday with another great guest. Thank you for tuning in.
Healthy Intent inspires you to live a healthier life. It's so easy to bump health down the priority list behind the business phone calls, family commitments, and, let's face it, anything else, until we are diagnosed with something that forces us to make a change. Their online Healthy Cooking Academy has incredible classes that will help you make significant progress in your kitchen, whether cooking for yourself or your family. Or you can subscribe to Healthy Intent YouTube channel for quick tips and more fun recipes. We all want to look better, feel better, and have more energy for life and business. Start every day with Healthy Intent and follow them at healthyintent.com.
You've been listening to The Business Kitchen Show. Tune in each week for saucy interviews with business owners and to pick up fresh ingredients for your business success. The conversation continues after each episode on the Business Kitchen Show Facebook page. For the full show menu,